this morning on the show we have the wonderful Irina Webster joining us. Welcome back, Irina.
Welcome, Jodie. Nice
Thank
to be
you.
here.
You were telling us the story of how you've basically started out in your life in Russia, trained as a medical doctor, came to Australia, working in Canberra Hospital, living in Canberra, so you're a local lady.
Yes.
Everything's sort of, moving along in your life quite quickly, and then all of a sudden one day you get diagnosed with an illness, with basically a condition in a doctor's office where they say to you, you need to have surgery, and you've just, no, every part of your body says no, I'm not comfortable with this. And you just, before the break went in to tell us about how you went home and you went into the vibrational energy of the organ that was affected by the illness you've been diagnosed with. And do you want to continue with that story, I guess? Where to from here?
Yes, Jodie. Well, yeah, I had a diagnosis, which actually, by the way, it's not cancer,
Mm-hmm.
so...
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recommend anybody to disregard their doctor's opinion.
Yes.
What I'm only talking about to complement healing practices
Yes.
with conventional medicine practices.
Yes.
So don't take me incorrectly, please.
Yes.
Only my message is for you to look inside your body, connect to your body,
Mm-hmm.
talk to your body, and sense the subtle body energy.
Mm. And improve your overall health by getting in touch with yourself, with your own
With your
inner wisdom.
Within a wisdom,
To
yes.
complement, obviously, the wonderful, because obviously the medical, institution is such an important and valuable, modality, and we're not questioning that this morning. Simply saying that, in some instances, in your own, for example, there was wisdom that came from you that let you learn about these behavioural patterns and change your behaviour and change your choices. And that's, I guess, what you did.
That's right. So what I did was I came home and I had this desire to put myself in the vibrational state,
Mm-hmm.
which I explained before. It's like some people call it meditation, but for me it is a bit different. It's much further than that. It's when I sense the vibrations of my body cells.
Mm.
So I went to a room where I was completely alone. I sit on a chair and I started to meditate.
Mm.
Initially it is just like normal meditation, what people do, like you relax your whole body. But then you start to do, I call it body scan.
Mm.
When you scan your body layer by layer, and you scan it with your inner eye
Mm-hmm.
or X-ray vision,
Mm-hmm.
I normally started scanning my body and sensing the energy from my hands.
Mm.
Because our hands is actually proven that they are the most sensitive organs to energy. So I start sensing this vibration from my hands, and then I rise this vibration higher to my shoulders, to my chest, to my face, down to my abdomen, pelvis, legs and feet,
Mm.
until basically your whole body starts to vibrate with
Wow.
energy.
Mm.
It's a vibrational state. And then when you sense the vibrations of your whole body, you take all the power from your body energy and direct it to the organ you need to heal.
Wow, so it's basically gathering that strength,
That's right.
bringing out that beautiful
That's right.
energy, which, as you said, science has now proven that we are all made of energy. So it's basically gathering all that energy in your body and then directing it toward the area or the organ in the body that requires that healing.
That's right. And eventually, if you practice, you come to the point that you start to see inside of this organ.
Mm. And is that what happened for you?
That's what happened to me.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw inside of the organ I needed to heal.
Mm.
And I saw what was going on there.
Mm.
And then I saw like a light came in.
Mm.
And it's this light starts to clean this organ from inside out.
Wow. So is this something you did you know, on a daily basis, weekly basis, hourly basis, you know, or was once enough, you know?
On the next day, I put myself into this vibrational state. So many people ask me how long you have been in this state. Well, I would say it probably was more than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But when I put myself into this state, I never look at my watch.
Mm.
And I believe if you go into meditation and you're still keeping at your watch, you're not meditating.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because when you go into this state, it feels like you almost go into different dimension.
Yes.
So you don't notice the time.
Well, the brain levels are obviously all, you know, are all affected,
yes.
aren't they? So it's very difficult to be in a pure state of meditation and, as you said, still be conscious enough to actually check the time. So
that's right. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that I probably was in this state much more than hour, maybe 1 hour and a half, 2 hours. Well, on the next day, my bleeding, this condition involved bleeding, basically was nearly gone.
Wow.
Nearly gone, but I still continued the same practice of vibrational state for the next 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
After 3 days, basically on the third day, I had no symptoms. And I never had the symptoms return.
Wow.
And it happened 8 years ago. I never had the symptoms return to me. And so this experience basically changed my life. I realized that there is something more and deeper than just to take drugs or go for surgery.
And I'm assuming, obviously, talking about the emotions and the belief systems. So it wasn't just the 3 days and that beautiful vibrational healing, focus. I'm assuming that the messages you received, or the emotions and beliefs, and the what you uncovered through that, and then you made some life changes, which is the next important step, isn't it? If you're in a situation or you're experiencing external factors that are influencing your health, i.e. stress or whatever happens to be, it's not going to be enough just to sort of go into this vibrational state and try to heal an organ. If you're going to remain in that external state, because you'll just have to continue to heal that organ if you don't change something. Is that right?
Absolutely, Georgie. I totally agree with you. And the first step is just to go inside your body and acknowledge how many of us keep running our life on the same emotional pattern without acknowledging. If you don't acknowledge your stresses, your fears, your wrong conditioning, how would you actually stop doing what you shouldn't be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So acknowledging first. Acknowledge that power, accept where you're at, I guess.
That's right.
And for you, did that mean changes in your life? I mean, did you make changes, in your...
Absolutely, yes. I acknowledged all my stresses and all my patterns. I tried to make changes. I forced myself to, physically forced myself to stop doing what I was doing wrong.
Yeah, amazing.
Yes.
And that would have been, I'm assuming, it would have been challenging,
Of course, it's challenging. And initially, like most people think it is all passive, but it's actually the biggest part of healing is not passive actually. It's actually active. It's where most people failing. That they maybe accept the passive part, okay, you just relax. But then when it comes, okay, but there is active part.
Yes.
Where you actually have to actively act on something.
Yes.
Many people fail, and it's not their fault. They just some people just don't realize what they're doing. We are not taught to all this, how to go inside our body and what to do with our bodies and how to act on the messages your body sending to us.
Amazing. So, big change of life for you, stepping out of the, I guess the traditional, world of medicine and into this beautiful state of healing. And since that experience 8 years ago, you've now published 5 books.
Yes, I have published 5 books, all of them in regards to intuitive health. The first books I started, they were like about eating disorders, but how to cure it. My suggestion to heal eating disorders is to do healing. Then I have written books about pregnancy, infertility, and all in relations to intuitively connecting to yourself.
Beautiful.
And my last book, I published The Secret Energy of Your Body. It is where I described the whole process of connecting to your body and describes the body language, how your body talks to you, and how to decipher, how to transcribe the messages from your body. And this is all in this book. And I researched the emotional connections to every symptoms we experience in our body, to every illness. And this is not just metaphysical, because most people may be listening to this show now and think, oh, this is something metaphysical, this is something out of conventional practice. But I can tell you it is not. It is not. There is the biggest medical library in Harvard University. Harvard, it is, everybody knows Harvard University in America. It's very big, one of the biggest in the world. And they have a very big, I think it's considered to be the biggest medical library. And they have all the research documented and published by neuroscientists about the emotional connections to every symptoms and every body parts and every organs we experience, and all these emotional patterns which brings diseases related to certain emotional centers, which is our spiritual anatomy or energetic anatomy. We all have a certain energetic anatomy, very specific to the pattern of disease, of illnesses we develop. So it's all been very well documented by neuroscience. The other matter that conventional medicine is structured the way it doesn't recognize it yet.
And I think that's the really empowering word. It's yet. I can see it. I can feel it coming. In that there will be, hopefully, this beautiful alignment between these truths. As we said, there's always going to be the need for the medical industry. There is. I mean, for example, if someone goes and chops up a couple of their fingers, for example, touch wood, I hope that happens to nobody today, but if it happens, at that time, we're not suggesting that being able to go into that, those fingers and understand the energy is going to grow back those fingers. No, we need to obviously go to the hospital, and we need to, see these amazing surgeons who can actually, reattach these fingers. That's something that, is absolutely necessary. However, once that has occurred, the beauty there is being able to then go into the energy of that and think, okay, why? What happened? What emotionally was I feeling? But it takes a responsibility. It takes a responsibility to look into yourself and, acknowledge and own your own stuff. I mean, I think we're taught to be victims of our illnesses, victims of I caught a cold. As I said, mentioned before, hereditarily, depression's in my family. Therefore, if it happens to me, it's out of my control. We're really conditioned that we are victims of disease and illness and sickness in the West. It's not this way all through the world, but in the West, in my experience, we're victims to it. And if you're a victim to something, then of course you don't feel empowered to actually do anything about it, because you feel like it's happening to you.
That's right. You just take away all your personal responsibility of creating the disease.
Yeah, and this theory, and I know that we're very aligned in these thinking patterns, and I know when I talk to people about even my family, my husband will hurt his knee, or someone will have a sore throat, and I'll say, what is it that perhaps you're not communicating, or what is it, what's happening, and they'll say, it was just an accident, Mum. It's just an accident. So I know even in my own family unit, when I suggest these tools, and I've really consciously brought up my children in empowerment and in acknowledgement of works, as I said, not only of your works, but research that I've done well beyond. But the conditioning of the community and their school and every other touch point they have in their lives still, it still has them believing that their power is outside of themselves. They still see that they fall victim to these things, and I think that it's going to take a big change in perception, and it's going to take education, and it's going to take a lot of strength for people to stand up, and I know myself, to actually own what happens in your body. It can be confronting because all of a sudden you have to understand, I have some responsibility here,
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's the major reason why people are not listening to their body, are not listening to their intuition, is that we are programmed this way. From the very young age, children are taught to confirm and obey the rules. You got to apply by the rules. Here is the tribal rules, and you got to follow them. And your personal opinion, your intuition, your body's messages, all rubbish. It's how we're programmed. Most of us been programmed this way, and intuition is completely different. Intuition, it is listening totally to your body needs.
Absolutely.
And our conditioning, of course, really influence us in a negative way. But I believe that energy medicine is a medicine of the future, and it's not hopefully, it will happen. And energy medicine will only develop. But like you said about surgeon reconstructing fingers, for example. Like in this particular surgery, if somebody goes for surgery to reconstruct finger, if this person has deep personal beliefs that everything will be okay, and he is listening to his or her own intuition, and everybody around him, his family, for example, believes that everything is going to be fine, and sending to this person good energy, and this particular person on operating table has certainty and has no fears. This certain operation goes much better compared to if the person full of fear live his life in not trusting to anybody, has no belief in anything positive.
It makes complete sense. I mean, we know when we're in fear, then we have stress and anxiety. So we know that we go into the stress response or the fight or flight response. And we know when that happens, all of these neurochemicals flood the body. So you have the adrenaline and the cortisol, they're flooding through the body. So when you're in that state, every other healing aspect in your body ceases.
That's right.
So, if you're in that constant stress response, and you're in that, that fight or flight, which so many people are these days. I mean, it's an epidemic. People live their lives, in extended periods of this stress and this fight or flight and this anxiety, which leads to depression, and it's unrecognised. I mean, modern medicine hasn't been able to diagnose or ascertain exactly where depression comes from.
Yes,
it may come from here, it may come from there. Realistically, if we look at it in a quite simple form, it just comes from being overly stressed for a really long period of time and not being able to, not having the coping mechanisms or the skills to be able to heal, not being in homeostasis, not being in a healing state. And, you're absolutely right. The body wants to heal itself, and the body will heal itself if we get out of the way. you know, and that's something that I always try to, you know, educate, even as I said, my family. The body is an amazing thing. It is so much more intelligent than the mind.
That's right. Yes.
It will heal. It wants to heal. It wants to be at its optimum health. The body doesn't choose not to be.
Yes, body always drive us.
Yeah.
The Mother Nature drive us towards wellness.
Absolutely.
But our fears, our stresses drive us to the opposite.
Yes,
So when we live our life in fear or experience negative emotions on a continuous level, we shut down the healing processes entirely. So we don't let actually our body heal. And healing, it is totally internal process.
Yes, and
healing, natural process, internal, and it doesn't depend so much on external factors. It is how you are internally with yourself. And talking about depression from an intuitive perspective, it is spiritual crisis. Crisis for it's striving for a better, higher meaning in life.
Absolutely, and you can see that. It makes sense, you know.
People crying for higher meaning. What's meaningful? They lost all meaning. Depressed people have no meaning in their life. They have no drive.
Yes,
the drive is lost. Meaning is lost. So their body, by giving them depression, drives them towards finding this meaning. And since they find this meaning in life, the drives, the depression will be gone.
Yes.
And this only can come from the spirit. No drugs, no surgery can reply this hole in their chest or hole in your body, in your belly or in your chest. Only spirit can replace this hole. And what most people with depression and anxiety experience, they say, I have like a hole in my chest, hole in my abdomen.
This longing
for
meaning and
for higher meaning of life.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I could talk to you for hours if only we didn't have this this limit to to the conversation this morning. Irina, where can the listeners, where can they start? You know, how can they contact you? Where can they purchase these, you know, these amazing books that you've written? Yeah, how do we get in touch?
Well, the easiest way, you can check me out on internet. I have my website, www.Dr. Irina Webster, so it's like dr.irinawebster.com, or just put me on Google. Irina Webster, Dr. Irina Webster on Google, and you will find my website.
It's got IRINA.
Yes, it's Russian spelling.
Yeah, it is.
IRINA.
And Webster, Webster. So you can search Irina on the internet, on Facebook as well. You're on Facebook.
And recently I started my Intuitive Healing TV.
Yes.
We upload very interesting educational videos. You can watch them absolutely for free, and every video is devoted to a certain topic. They're very short, they go maybe like 3-4 minutes, no longer than 5 minutes. But every video is totally educational and devoted to a specific topic of intuitive healing.
They're amazing. I've watched them. I've shared them on my my Facebook page. So for the listeners out there who do follow me, I will share those again today. And I highly recommend. As I said, 3-4 minutes. It's it's better than any cough syrup you could possibly take in your day, just to sort of start to gain that improved understanding. So do check Irina out on YouTube as well. How about the books? Where can people purchase the books?
People can buy a book on Amazon. It's a Kindle in the form of ebook. If they want to purchase a proper book, like physical books, they can go to my website or they can go to Booktopia. They're available in bookshops, in basically all DMAX bookshops, most of bookshops in Australia. They can just mention my name and say the secret energy of your body. So they can help you. People in the shops, they can help you to buy this book. or go to my website.
Fantastic. And Irina does do some events and workshops as well, so you can, especially if you're in Canberra or don't mind travelling to Canberra, and let me tell you, she is worth the trip to spend some time with this amazing woman. So I do encourage you to make contact. If this topic interests you, do get in touch or get in touch with me, and I can pass along, you point you in the right direction. Irina, thank you so much for joining us on Wellness Warriors this morning. It's been an absolute delight.
Thank you, Georgie. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome.